Hi, friends. I hope everyone is having a fantastic day, first of all. Okay, so today is going to be a pretty interesting topic. I'm sure most of may have come across something like this from maybe other people, other people making videos, content out there similar to this, whatever the case may be. Um, and what I want to talk about is fear is the root of all your problems. Yes, fear. Fear is a very powerful negative emotion that in most people's lives it is what controls their entire life. It's what runs their lives. The reason why most people don't change anything about their lives is because of fear and fear alone. Now, don't get me wrong, there are many other emotions out there that are bad as well. But fear is the big daddy. Fear is the final boss. And this one is no joke. Because what you have to understand about fear is the fact that when it comes down to fear, there are many other emotions that are derived and stem from it themselves, such as doubt, confusion, not having any type of, you know, self love. People who, are always living this perpetual state of victimhood. Every single one of these things is based, it comes from and is derived from fear itself. So think of it as this big giant tree. I figured that'd be a good way to like make an analogy out of it. There's like this big tree, right? And some trees are really strong. There have been cases where, you know, it's not common, but it does happen. You cut a tree down, but its roots are still there. The whole bottom of the tree is still there. That tree can sprout back up again. Not a common thing, but it's possible. It does happen. And that's exactly the way fear works. So when it comes down to fear, it's not very simple to eradicate something like that from your psyche, like completely. As a matter of fact, you can get rid of it, most certainly, but there's always this lingering, you know, shadow of it that will always remain no matter what. I'm sure eventually at some point, when you become, you know, mega spiritual, ascended master level, then that stuff doesn't exist anymore. But up until that point, that kind of thing is always gonna have like this like lingering shadow effect that just lives on, no matter how much work you put onto yourself. And you know it's it's very deep. It's very, very deep. So to deal with something like that, you have to create your own, you know mental practices, um, disciplines, like I've said before, being always aware of what's happening, always observing. Imagine yourself always being like outside of yourself, kind of, seeing everything that's happening. Because if you're if you manage to, make this state a constant in your life, in your day to day, you will instantly recognize every time that fear is trying to, drag him down and not make you do something, because it knows that when you do certain things, the more things you do when you disregard any type of fear that may make you think otherwise, you're slowly killing it. So if you have this part of you that doesn't want to die, I hope you understand what I'm talking about here. I'm pretty sure you guys get it. It's really not that complicated. It's a part of your psyche. It's an integral part of your psyche. It's one of the strongest big daddy bosses of the ego, and it's just the way it is. It's everybody has it. Everybody has it. And we live in a world today that is completely, I choose not to live in that world. That's my choice. You all have a choice, right? But the reality is, the world that we live in today, for the most part, still is fear based. It's all about control. You have all these governments all over the world. They keep coming up with all these crazy, control tools, passing these absurd laws, you name it. I'm not even gonna get into it, because it's, first of all, YouTube may not like that kind of thing, and second of all, you all should know and be familiar with what I'm speaking of here, because I would assume if you ended up here, out of everybody out there, then you know this isn't your first rodeo. You understand what I'm saying. So fear is a bitch. Let's be real. And we have to learn how to deal with that stuff in a way that will allow us to not allow this emotion to have complete and absolute control of our lives. Because that's the biggest mistake that anyone can make. Period. You can make many mistakes in your lives. Many. And we all make them. Make no mistake about it. That's what it means to be human. We we live our lives. Our lives is like this amalgamation of trial and error, failures and victories, so many different things. And everyone and anyone goes through all kinds of different situations in their lives, right? It's we're all gonna have our own personal journey to go through to talk about whatever. I mean, you don't necessarily have to talk about if you don't want to. I'm doing it because I think it's important to share things like this with other people, especially those who are younger than us, that they're still learning. This is not an easy journey. So take the wisdom from older folk. And I'm not saying that I'm wiser than everyone younger than me. That will not always be the case. There are plenty of young people out there who, they may have had some pretty miserable experiences in their lives, and that most likely gave them immense amounts of wisdom and understanding about themselves and about life and everything that comes with it, if they understood the lesson and they grew from it and they evolved spiritually, because that's how it works. So the fear situation is one of those things that you have to you have to go to the root of the problem. That's why I was using the tree analogy. You have to kill the root so the tree doesn't have a chance to grow back again. I know it sounds little. I don't know if that was the right, example to use as an analogy, but it's the easiest way, the easiest one to make it be so it's understandable for everybody, I guess. I don't know. Could have used something else, but that's the first thing that came to my mind was the tree example. And yeah, because if you kill the root, then it's game over. So that's how it works. So that's why sometimes, when we go through these purges, emotional releases throughout our lives, it's ironic, and it's also funny. Now I laugh at these things because, and every time it happens, and it happens pretty often. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. I don't know. Maybe I'm a like exception case. I don't know. I don't know what's the story with everybody else out there. I know my case, and I can tell you I have these releases quite frequently. Um, but every time they happen, it's like I leveled up again, and I leveled up again. Easiest way to explain it, right? And every time that happens, I feel more in tune with this special part of myself that is helping me throughout my life. That now it helps me when I'm asking for guidance, when I'm asking for clarity, when I feel, I don't know, a bit uncertain about something. Yeah, that may be fear, but it's also a human thing. It's the comfort zone scenario. Like nobody wants to step out of the comfort zone. It's so bizarre to see that sometimes in people. You would think that after everything that happened to mankind up until this point now, and many things have happened, especially in the recent, past few years, 2020, anyone? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. These parasites, because there's no other way to name people like that. They are so desperate to hold their grasp on everything, to keep running things the way they want to keep running things. They are so afraid to lose control. And they are. Trust me, they are. They don't know what's coming. But it's already happening as I speak. Those of us who know. But they will do anything and everything at their disposal to try and keep their control in place. But that stuff is crumbling right now. If you have the eyes to see, you know what I'm talking about. It's happening. It may not be happening as fast as a lot of people hope, but it's happening. You have to think in terms of, there's a lot of people on this planet right now, and to make everyone see things a certain way or understand things like they really are is a massive undertaking. And it takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of intent, it takes a lot of consciousness and energetic entanglements for it to, happen on a mass scale. This is not small work, guys, at all. And those who are sitting on their butts thinking that anyone is going to come to save them, to rescue them, whatever you think, space brothers, aliens, whatever you want to call them, angels, Jesus, this and that, the list is long. We have to do it ourselves. Nobody else is going to do it for us. This is our job. This is our mission. And you're free to disagree with what I'm saying. And that's okay, if that's how you want to go on about. But I am telling you, we need to be responsible. This is called spiritual responsibility. And if you want to see massive change happening on a global scale, across the board, which is what I would like to see, very much so, more than anything in my lifetime. And I don't even know if I'm going to get to witness that. I really hope I do. But I don't know. This is a lot of work, guys. This is a lot of work. Not just a lot of work, a lot of hard work. And we have to do it together. Because if we don't, it ain't happening. We all have to do our part. There's no hero that's gonna come to save the day in this story that we're living here. You are the hero. You are your own hero. You have to help yourself. Understand that. Meditate on that. Go sit in your room for a while, listening to the silence of your mind, and ask yourself that question. Who's gonna come to save the day? I'm dead serious about that. Let that sink in. Feel free to reply. I'd love to know what you guys think. Because I'm telling you, this is like any other job that exists out there. You want to see results? You want to achieve goals? You have to work for it. Spirituality works exactly the same way. You have to work for it. Yeah. There's no cavalry. No one is coming to rescue you. Start by rescuing yourself first. That's the first step. The rest will follow. You will know what to do after that. This is gonna be it for today. For now. And with that said, like, subscribe, share, whatever you want to do. Reply. Say what you want to say, or don't say anything. I love you all. I really do. Have a good one, guys.